A new poll commissioned by the Grassroots advocacy group Ban Conversion Therapy Kentucky shows that 74% of likely voters in the state oppose the widely discredited and harmful practice used on LGBTQ minors. And this comes as a bipartisan coalition of state lawmakers are working to advance a bill in the legislature to ban conversion therapy. LEX 18's Mike Valenti has more.
Advocates working to protect vulnerable minors from attempts to quote-unquote change their sexual orientation prefer to call this practice conversion torture.
It is a pervasive issue. It's happening all over the state. I mean, it's happening all over the country.
Tanner Mobley is the executive director of Ban Conversion Therapy Kentucky. He has been lobbying for the legislature to pass the Youth Mental Health Protection Act for the past 3 years.
But it's not only possible that we pass this session, but it's necessary. You know, we know from the Trevor Project that about 42% of survivors that undergo conversion therapy attempt suicide at one point.
Behind those statistics are faces of young people, Kentuckians, pushed to the edge.
And in fact, drove me on multiple occasions to come very close to ending my life because I felt like I was raised in a society that said if you were this way, you were going to hell and there's something wrong with you. And I didn't want to go to hell. I wanted to be loved.
31-year-old Zach Miners says he grew up in an environment where love was unconditional unless you were gay. So when he was outed at 14, church leaders told him they needed to fix him. What followed was 4 years of what Miners describes as psychological and emotional abuse. He was even taught to inflict physical pain on himself if he had a gay thought.
I would lie and say, oh, I saw a girl at the mall and I think I thought she was cute. And I would just say things like that just to make them back off.
For years after the session stopped, he still lived in pain, trying to hide who he was. At 27, he came out and later began to fully absorb the trauma he endured.
And it wasn't until I found out that the people who I went to go see, who almost caused me to end my life and who were psychologically and emotionally abusive to me, once I found out that those people were still practicing, I knew that I had to come forward and tell my story. And that's when I started, beginning to speak up about it.
Ban Conversion Therapy Kentucky has identified about 50 licensed professionals in the state engaging in this denounced practice. And Mobley and Miners say in order to strip them of their licenses, the legislature needs to act now. In Lexington, Mike Valenti, LEX 18 News.